Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Arcantu here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. My pronouns are she, her, hers. Now, if you know the YW, we're really all about our persimmon. But today we have gone red, and I hope you've gone red too. If you have not gone red and you're wondering why we've gone red, then stay tuned and get yourself comfortable and listen to this great conversation that we have for you today. Today is Go Red Day. It's a national initiative that encourages women to know their blood pressure, their HDL cholesterol, and their total cholesterol levels, as well as their BMI, their body mass index. And that way, knowing all of those statistics helps you better understand your health risk for heart disease. It's time when the nation spotlight today is the day when we really spotlight heart disease, and it's the number one killer of Americans. President Lyndon B. Johnson, among the millions of people in the country who had heart attacks, first issued the proclamation in 1964. And today, we are so grateful to have our guest, Miss Lisa Lovell, with us. She is going to share her own experience and insights around heart health. And before we do that and chat with her, I want to tell you a little bit about her. She is a financial planner for Prudential. Her focus is to provide honest service and financial strategies that will help her clients achieve their personal financial goals. In her free time, she enjoys spending time with her family, her friends, her favorite Shih Tzu, Neiman. Oh, how cute. I wish she was with us on the screen right now. And she sings in a choir and she reads. She is, there's such a story here. So I'm so grateful that she could join us to share it. So with that, welcome, Lisa.
Thank you so much, Helen. I'm excited to be here.
So
So
before
before
before we jump into our questions, I thought it would be great to share an amazing video that was created about your life that really highlights your personal journey around heart health. It was created by Prudential, where Lisa works, and we're going to show you a little clip of it right now.
May 7th, 2009 was the day that kind of brought me into a different reality. I woke up at 2:30 that morning. I felt like an elephant was sitting on the left side of my chest. I only woke up because I heard a voice call my name. I didn't know what was going on. Although I had been trained to recognize heart attacks on the job site, I didn't recognize what was going on in myself. I dialed 911 and explained that I think I'm having a heart attack. I couldn't tell you who woke me up that morning, but I know now that it was only my belief in God. That was the beginning of a different life for me. I felt very happy that there were people out there that actually do things and raise money to help save lives.
Lisa introduced herself as a heart attack survivor. I immediately, of course, thought, oh, I need to connect with her.
She told me about the leadership team and the work that they do each year, and I said, I would love to be a part of this.
Lisa's made an amazing impact to the American Heart Association and our work, and has a real passion of sharing her story with others, making sure as many people as possible learn the signs and symptoms of a heart attack and stroke, and just getting the messaging out on different health and wellness initiatives. She took part in our Heart Walk, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Yay!
If I can attribute anything to why I had a heart attack the way I did, it was because I really needed to stay active and healthy.
Our aunt has inspired us to live a healthier lifestyle. She would coach us for basketball practice.
She would take us to like kung fu classes.
That was a major part of us leading a healthier lifestyle at a young age.
Having always helping people in all different ways, even outside of the American Heart Association.
Well, I actually had the honor to see the entire video, which is amazing. But that clip alone really gives us a sense of your experience. So, Lisa, tell us a little bit more about what happened that day, and then how it changed your life.
Well, I have to tell the story about where I was in my career at that time because yes, I'm now at Prudential Advisors, but prior to that, I was a 30-year veteran of the construction industry field. I had worked with major construction companies, and at that point, I had actually started my own construction company and was in the process. The days leading up to that, I was physically on a job site, walking around, wondering why I couldn't breathe the way I couldn't breathe, wondering why every time I ate, my stomach would swell up, why I was feeling nauseous, and I just kept dismissing it, saying, oh, it must be allergies, because it was springtime, it's May. So that's what I said. And the night before, I remember having a very massive headache, migraine, I will call it. And I went to the emergency room for the migraine, not tell them, didn't tell them anything else. And they said, here, take this, go home. So I went home. And 2:30 that morning, I woke up drenched in sweat, uh, head to toe. It felt like I had jumped out the shower and laid down in my bed. And when I woke up, it was only because, as I said in the video, I literally heard a voice say, Lisa, get up. And I sat up immediately in the bed and realized I wasn't breathing well. My two dogs at the time were looking at me and like as if, like, what's wrong with you? Who are you talking to? Because I live by myself. And smart me laid back down and said, oh, you're just having a nightmare or something. I put my head back down, and I don't think it was even 2 minutes. And the voice said, Lisa, get up now. And I reached over for whatever version of iPhone I had at that time, dialed 911, started putting on my robe and grabbing my wallet and putting on my shoes. And all along, the people were telling me, the lady at the other end of the line was very calm and kept saying, stay there, they'll get to you. I said, yes, the alarm is on, and I have to turn it off so they can get in. I got to unlock the door. She's telling me, don't go down the stairs. I did everything she told me not to do. So, fun fact, don't do what I did. Listen to what you're being told, because it could have been a little bit more dramatic. But that's what happened that morning. And the next thing I knew, I'm very familiar with the the fire department and the police department because they're in my neighborhood and I see them. And the first person that came was the chief of police, who is also kind of the head of the PAL, the Police Athletic League, where I used to coach girls basketball. That's what my nieces were talking about, some of the activities I got them involved in. And he was the first person to show up and kept me calm. And then, I remember getting to the hospital, to the emergency room right here in my hometown in Rahway, and wasn't much they can do for me. I was in and out of consciousness. The next time I came out of, I became conscious. I was up at St. Michael's in Newark because the small hospital here couldn't do the stent or the cardiac cath. So they transferred me up there, and I remember waking up while they were doing the stent, and they said, go back to sleep, which I did. And I spent a couple of days after that in the CCU, and it's just been a journey after that.
So, I mean, that story, it really does remind us that, you know, that little voice, whoever and whatever you believe in is telling you something and that you should not dismiss it. I mean, it clearly saved your life. And my goodness, thinking about now, thinking about it backwards and all the things that were happening to you that were really the heart attack kind of coming and starting in your body is so helpful to hear. And I hope those watching really put that in your mind, that sometimes when you're feeling something, especially because our lives are so busy and we all have so much pulling at us, that we're so quick to dismiss it. But um, you know you were really, really so lucky. So I can understand that this felt like a calling once you got through it, that there was more to do. So tell us about that. Tell us what happened next.
So after going through several things, I was having problems with getting, like, I started swelling up after the event. And so for the months after that, about 2 months after that, so that was May, so all of May and then into June, I kept like retaining fluids. I tell everybody, I look like weebles that wobble but they don't fall down. That was me. And it was pains all over. So I ended up getting a pacemaker defibrillator implant, the same day that Michael Jackson passed away. And so it was what I woke up to in the news in the recovery room, and I was like, "Am I dreaming again?" So after that, I started feeling much better. The pacemaker did its job, but now here I am with a pacemaker at the age of 42. So something I never expected because I'd always been athletic and whatever. So a little bit of touch and go with which medicines work, which ones didn't, which ones were doing good for me, which ones were affecting different things, because I'm also diabetic. And those are concerns that they have, and some of the medicines were a challenge further to my kidneys. So it was a real touch and go game for a while. But I have to say that I actually learned to champion my health. I did not just allow the doctors and medical staffs to come in a room and talk to me and sign a script and walk out. No. I want to know, why are you changing the medication, or why are you prescribing this one? I get it, I know my health, but I needed to understand what these were going to do, what I could expect, and what are some of the long term, because these are things I'm going to be on for the rest of my life. So once we got that straightened out, I happened to run into Judith Friedland of the American Heart Association Heart Walk team here in New Jersey. And it was at a networking event for a Chamber of Commerce here that we were meeting in Clark. And we were going around the room and everybody was introducing themselves. There were about 30 people. And I like to play not 6 degrees of separation, but one, because I think I can connect myself to everybody by just 1 degree. It sometimes doesn't work. But as they went around the room, everybody said something, and I made notes as to how I could be connected to them, either what they did, who they are, where they live, something. And so I went around the whole room. Judy was to my right. She was the last person. She was the person to go before me. I went last. And when I heard she was with American Heart Association, I go around the room, I say everything, and then I look at her and I said, "I have a lot in common with you." And she's looking at me. I said, "I'm a survivor." And I try to tell everybody, I started yelling it from the rooftops to my family, my church, look at your health. I talked to everybody that I could that wanted to listen about why it's important to pay attention and don't do like I did.
Wow. I mean, and it's fortuitous. It seems like end up in that room with that contact from the American Heart Association again, once again meant to be. Taking your experience and helping so many others with it. And I was so struck in the video about your nieces too, and them sharing how which an earlier part of the video, which we didn't show really, about the impact that you've always had on their lives and how involved you've been with them, and you know, but then to have this happen and really make them at such a young age really think about their health in a different way. So changing the trajectory for them as well, which is really, so important, so important.
Helen, the other reason that this is so important to me, I'm of Caribbean descent. I was born in Trinidad and Tobago. I emigrated here when I was 9 years old with my brother, sister, and my mom and dad. And my father, after my parents separated or divorced, my father died of a massive heart attack when he was 43 years old. I had my heart attack at 42. Did you know that the first time I heard that there was heart disease in my father's side of the family was on the day that he died? That was it. It was before the heart attack, of course. He died when I was in my 20s, but that was the first time. But even then, I didn't pay attention or think to ask. When you say it's in the
Okay. Well, we're so grateful for Lisa sharing her story and, telling us how, the first time she really learned about the history in her own family was when her father died. And it really does remind us how important it is to be sharing what's going on in your life with your loved ones and your family members and the generations coming up. Because having that information can really help them make different decisions around their health for sure. So what a tremendous gift that she gave them as well by sharing her story. Obviously, we're having a little technical difficulty, and I believe that Lisa will be back any minute. Maybe while we're waiting, Ari, do you want to show the video again, in case we had anyone who's joining us?
May 7th, 2009 was the day that kind of brought me into a different reality. I woke up at 2:30 that morning. I felt like an elephant was sitting on the left side of my chest. I only woke up because I heard a voice call my name. I didn't know what was going on. Although I had been trained to recognize heart attacks on the job site, I didn't recognize what was going on in myself. I dialed 911 and explained that I think I'm having a heart attack. I couldn't tell you who woke me up that morning, but I know now that it was only my belief in God. That was the beginning of a different life for me. I felt very happy that there were people out there that actually do things and raise money to help save lives.
Lisa introduced herself as a heart attack survivor. I immediately, of course, thought, oh, I need to connect with her.
She told me about the leadership team and the work that they do each year, and I said, I would love to be a part of this.
Lisa's made an amazing impact to the American Heart Association and our work, and has a real passion of sharing her story with others, making sure as many people as possible learn the signs and symptoms of a heart attack and stroke, and just getting the messaging out on different health and wellness initiatives. She took part in our Heart Walk, which is our biggest fundraiser of the year. Yay!
If I can attribute anything to why I had a heart attack the way I did, it was because I really needed to stay active and healthy.
Our aunt has inspired us to live a healthier lifestyle. She would coach us for basketball practice.
She would take us to like kung fu classes.
That was a major part of us leading a healthier lifestyle at a young age.
Having always helping people in all different ways, even outside of the American Heart Association.
Well, that's great. We have Lisa back now, and we got to watch the great video again. Lisa, I wanted to see if we could just spend a minute now that we're back together to talk about CPR. Why is it so important that we learn CPR? I know everyone thinks, oh, well, I just could call 911 and help will be on their way. What do we really need to know?
Well, that's true. Help's going to be on the way. You can call 911. But that time that you're losing waiting for somebody, this is like seconds count. That's what CPR is about. When I was in the industry, in construction industry, I learned how to administer CPR because as the project manager, I was it. I was the main safety person. So when I recognized something going on, I had to know how to do those things. But never realizing that something could happen to me, and did my family know? Because most of the time things are going to happen when you're home. You're not going to be sitting 2 feet from a hospital or an emergency room. You're going to be at home. Your loved ones are probably going to be the first one to have to administer care. That's why learning CPR and the techniques are so important.
And even further for us to make sure that we're considering when we're talking about CPR is that the statistics show that Black and Latino people are less likely to receive bystander CPR than their white counterparts. And women are less likely to receive hands-only CPR, mostly because people fear accusations of inappropriate touching, sexual assault, or injuring the person. Um, we need to change that dynamic for sure, and that statistic. What can we do to do that, Lisa?
I think the first part is like you said, we need to change it. But how you go about making change is usually kind of touch and go. But I find that the best approach is education. The more people that get out there, the more, I mean, we all sit around and binge watch something on somebody's streaming service. Why can't we all get together and learn how to do this and understand what truly is happening? As opposed to turning on our videos and recording things, get involved and really become helpful. But changing that stigma really is going to start with education, and maybe even trying to understand why that situation. I get it with, with the, with things about sexual harassment and things like that, it is important. But when it comes to life or death, what's more important? Not that one outweighs the other, but would you want someone to help you or not, because maybe they're of a different race, sex, sexuality, sexual orientation? That doesn't make sense to me. But I think it's going to have to start with education, understanding that this is not something that you're going to hurt somebody with, yeah, if it's done properly, and the education and training will make sure of that. I think when it comes to Black and brown folks, we tend to, and I'm not saying me, but as a people, we tend to shy away from doing anything that somebody can come back and say, oh, you hurt me, I'm going to sue you. Because that's also another reality about helping somebody with CPR. We've seen and heard about cases like that too. So there's a lot. There's a lot we have to do to change that, but I think it starts with education and training.
And so, just a reminder to everybody watching, you can learn about CPR classes. Most of our local healthcare institutions offer them for the community. A lot of nonprofit organizations do. And you can connect with the American Heart Association for sure. They have courses as well. And it would definitely, we're going to put the information here for you, cpr.heart.org, where you can go to that link and you can find exactly where to go to get a CPR class. So it would be so important for you to do that. And we have the links for you here in the comments so that you can easily just go to it and find a class near you and at a time that works for you as well. We also have for you here in the links the warning signs and symptoms that will bring you back to the Go Red for Women site. And, Lisa was so generous to share her experience and what signs and symptoms that she received. But the reality is it's a little different for everybody. And it's good to hear what she went through because it's a great reminder for us not to ignore it. But our symptoms may be different. And if you go to that site, you'll be able to, read and see all the different symptoms to make sure that you can, keep that in your mind. So, Lisa, before we leave each other, I, would love for you to share with us, now that you're in this place where, you've, been through this, tremendous experience that brought you to being an advocate, being an ambassador, on this important topic and with such a great organization. Obviously, you've also had a career change that you're doing really important work. And I know for you, as you shared with me before we went live, that it's important for you to share your story with your clients because that there's a lot of stress around finances and that it can impact their health. So tell us, how do you celebrate your health now and your new life as you move forward?
So that's a great question, especially in the month of February, because this month is my birthday month. My real birthday, the day I was born, is February 10th. So that's next Friday. But my new birthday, the one that I go all out for, is May 7th. So this year I'll be turning 14. And every year I start the year off actually with reminding people that, hey, you could still give to the American Heart Association. I try to get them involved in more exercise and walking. If we're Cycle Nation or if we're out there walking, I'm posting things. I'm telling people. I don't do a lot on the Instagram thingy, but I do try my best to let people know there's so many different ways to be active. What's most important is that you move. Just move. I don't care if you move up and down the steps in your house 100 times a day. Just move. And my dog has been the best help for me because with him, I get to do 2 miles of walking a day.
Yes, our pups are definitely good motivators to get us out and moving for sure. But it makes sense that you have a new birthday to celebrate after the amazing story, that you have to share for sure. And again, to our viewers, I hope that um, think about this day, think about what you've heard, think about Lisa's story. Obviously, we hope that you never have to have the experience, but it's important to kind of file this away so that if you ever are having a strange symptom or feeling or something out of the ordinary, that definitely take the time to check it out and not push it off. If there's a reason that we're all here, and we want to stay around for it for sure, whether it's the people in our lives or something that we're on a mission to do. But clearly Lisa's mission is to make sure that we're all thinking clearly about our hearts and our heart health.
There was just one thing I wanted to add as you were talking about the getting yourself checked out and understanding the symptoms. The symptoms for heart appear differently in women than they do for men. Way different. So that's something else to pay attention to wherever you get your training. Ask the question if they don't share it with you. Just ask.
That's such an important part of this discussion, and I know that I've heard that before too. And it's if you go to the link, folks, you'll be able to read more about that as well. But as Lisa said, and we hope that you do, we hope you go take some CPR training, and during that training, get to hear some of these specifics as well. We do encourage you also to be following the great work of the American Heart Association. It is a fellow nonprofit. It's again, doing life-saving work for sure. And it's important for you to be connected to them and see how you can support their efforts as well. And so with that, we wrap up our Friday afternoon Go Red Day. We hope that you learned something today. We also hope that in honor of Go Red Day, that whatever you've learned, integrated into a conversation with someone else in your life and keep passing the information along. The more people that we can share Lisa's story with, the more people that we have the potential to get help and keep their hearts healthy and strong and stay around. So with that, thank you so much. We want to make sure that, again, that you visit all the links that we have here for more information. We also want you to join us on Monday morning at 9:30. We'll be speaking with Barbara Giarmo from the Dr. Martin Luther King Birthday Committee to be talking about all the amazing events that they are rolling out this month for Black History Month. So we hope that you join us for that. And also, if you've been following us this week, you know that we've been hosting a series around around Unite Against Hate, the state of bias crimes here in New Jersey. We have two more parts of the series. One is on Tuesday evening, which is on Zoom. That's going to focus on anti-Semitism. And on the 8th, we are meeting in person at Caldwell University at 7 p.m. We'll put the link here for you if you'd like to join us. We'll have our Attorney General, our New Jersey State Attorney General, Matthew Plackett, with us. Dr. Chris Purnell, who is a physician leader and a social change agent, and Monique Joseph, a mother and an activist, sharing a story of racial bias that impacted her family. And we want you all to join us. We want you to watch the two parts of the series that we did earlier this week. around focusing on the impact that our LGBTQ plus community, as well as our AAPI communities, have been impacted by hate crimes. We do believe that we can change the trajectory of hate that we're on, but that we all need to do that together. Whether or not you're in one of these targeted communities, you still have a role in making change here. So we do hope that you pay attention and check in to our conversations. And with that, lots of great happenings at the YW. Please visit our social media and our website, and we hope to see you at something soon. Lisa, thank you again so much for sharing your story. We wish you a happy birthday on the 10th and an even happier one on the 7th of May. We're so grateful that you could be with us, and please keep sharing your story. And I know for a fact that you're saving lives by doing that. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Bye.